Bonjour à tous. If you're joining us for the first time, my name is Madame Ugo, your unconventional online French tutor. Join me today as we unpack the lesson on verb conjugation, especially for third group verbs. In the previous lesson, we talked about our second group verbs, and we said that second group verbs are those verbs that have their ending as IR, and I shared with us the terminations that we use in conjugation of the second group verbs. So today we are going to be talking about third group verbs. So third group verbs in French are also known as le troisième groupe. So you can see it as this when you use your le conjugué app, le troisième groupe, okay? Which means third group of verbs. So, like I mentioned earlier, for third group verbs, their suffixes are usually RE and IR. So you can see that there is a thin line between how the third group verbs look, especially for the ones that have their ending as IR, and also for second group verbs. So we need to be very careful so that we don't confuse our third group verb with our second group verbs. And this is where a lot of students encounter challenges as far as verb conjugation is concerned. But one thing I will say is that it is something that will come to you with time. You would be able to differentiate the verbs that are in the second group and the verbs that are in the third group, especially the ones that share common suffix such as IR. So I am going to share some examples of the third group verbs that we have that have their suffix as RE, and I will also share some third group verbs that have their suffix as IR, and we will conjugate them together. So let me start with the first one. So I am going to start with the verb that has its suffix as RE, and afterwards I am going to do the one that has RI. So I am going to use the verb dire. Dire means to say. Okay? So if I want to conjugate the verb to say, so I want to say I say, or I am saying in French, present tense. I will say je dis. Je dis means I say. It also means I am saying. Okay? You say. Tu dis. This means you say. It also means you are saying. He says. Il dit. So this means he says. It also means he is saying. And you want to say we say. Nous disons. This means we say. It also means we are saying. Now, it gets more interesting. When it comes to vous, the plural for you, you want to say you say. Remember that this you is the plural you when you're talking about you. And it's also the you that you use in a formal setup or someone you're trying to accord respect to. So you say in French is conjugated as vous dites. By the way, some tutors will tell you that the verb dire falls under irregular verbs for them. I don't treat it as a regular verb. I treat it under third group verb. And when you look up dire on your le conjugué, it groups it as le troisième groupe. All right, so you say in French is vous dites, okay? So this is you say. This is also you are saying, of course, plural. And we have we say, sorry, we have done we say, they say, ils disent. So this is they say. It also means they are saying. So this is how you conjugate your verb there, which means to say. So let's try to make some examples using sentences with the verb there. I hope you have been able to get your note up until this point, as I am going to wipe the board. All right, so examples of sentences. So I want to say, example 1, I am saying the truth. So I am saying the truth. Remember, in our previous conjugation, we said that there, when you conjugate it in the je form, which is the I, the first person subject pronoun, it is je dis. So I am saying the truth becomes je dis la vérité. So la vérité is the truth. I am saying je dis. Match everything together, that gives you I am saying the truth. Okay? So another example, I want to say, we are saying the same thing. We are saying the same thing, simply put, would be nous disons the same thing is called la même chose. So this gives you we are saying the same thing. So that is how you use your verb there to make sentence construction in the present tense in French. So let's take a third group verb that has its ending as IR, having sorted the one that has its ending as RE, using there as our example. So I am going to use the verb to come, which we call in French venir. Remember that I had said earlier, when you're defining your verb, you must put these two in the definition of the infinitive of the verb. You must always put the two, then the action. The reason is that when you fail to put these two and the action, you can make mistakes, especially when you have certain verbs that share close proximity with a noun. This is what I mean. Look at this first group verb, travailler. Travailler means to work. But we have a closely related word as travailler, which is work itself. Work in French, le travail. This is work. So you can say that this is the noun and this is the verb. Your two here kind of encapsulates the action. So please, whenever you're defining an unconjugated verb in French, ensure that you put two. All right, so back to the verb conjugation of the third group verb using venir. So venir means to come. So, and you can see that its suffix is IR, just like we have here, and it mimics the second group verb that we saw earlier on in lesson 6. So I want to say I come or I am coming. In French, I would say je viens. So this means I come. It also means I am coming. You come. Tu viens. So this means you come. It also means you are coming. He comes. Okay, she comes. Same way it is conjugated. So this will be il vient. Okay? Il vient with a T. So this means he comes. It also means he is coming. And we have, for we, nous venons. Okay? This means we come or we are coming. Okay? Vous venez. So this means you come. It also means you are coming. Of course, for formal setup, plural, when you're talking about more than one person. And we have they come or they are coming. So they come, ils viennent. So this is they come. It also means they are coming. And this, my friends, is how you do your verb conjugation of the present tense in French. So, I come, je viens. You come, tu viens. He comes, il vient. We come, nous venons. You come, vous venez. They come, ils viennent. And this also means I am coming, you are coming, he is coming, we are coming, you are coming, they are coming. Now, let's try to make sentences in the present tense with the verb venir, which means to come. So, examples. So, you can now see how all of these things are closely tied together. At the lesson 2, if my memory serves me correct, we talked about the interaction of prepositions with the various genders of our nouns. You could see now that when we use the verb to come and certain nouns in French and preposition with those nouns, there is going to be some element of interaction with the preposition that we're going to be using with the nouns when we make sentences. And a typical example is this. Example 1. Okay? I want to say, I am coming. I am coming from the bank. I am coming from the bank. Now, you would notice what will happen here. Bank in French, of course, we had earlier mentioned that when we were talking on the topic of nouns, that bank in French is a feminine gendered noun and it is called la banque. So I am coming from the bank in French would be je viens de la banque. Easy. I am coming from the bank. Je viens de la banque. What if this were to be a masculine gendered location? Say, for example, I want to say, I am coming from the supermarket. So if I want to say, I am coming from the supermarket in French. By the way, supermarket is a masculine gendered noun. In French, we call it le supermarché. So I am coming from the supermarket becomes je viens de. Now, this is going to be, I'm going to do an illustration here. You cannot say do lo. This is wrong. This is wrong. Okay? We know that the in French is lo. Quite agree. But you cannot say dolo. And we know that of or from is do. But in French, you can't say je viens de le supermarché. This is one of the cardinal sins that cost a lot of TCF exam candidates their score, especially in their speaking and in their writing. So the appropriate thing you should say here would be je viens du supermarché. So this is the correct thing. And this is because when you have preposition do plus lo in French, that should give you do. Do not ever say dolo in French. Okay? All right. So having taken care of the conjugation of our verb in the third group verb, I want to believe that it is not very clear to us that we cannot run away from knowing the genders of our nouns, because the grasp of the gender of your noun will actually help you to be able to make grammatically correct sentences, especially when you apply things like your prepositions with your nouns and fuse your tenses together. So it is important, as you're learning your nouns, you are also learning the genders of your noun. We are going to be ending the lesson today on the conjugation of our third group verbs. I hope you would be able to take back some things that you have learned today. Try as much as possible to find the meaning of as many third group verbs as possible. And I can give you some pointers. So you see verb like, for example, pouvoir. Okay, vouloir. Savoir. Prendre. Devoir. And so on and so forth. So try to find the meaning of these verbs and use them in making sentences in French. Until I see you next time in my class, goodbye and see you some other time. Please like, follow, and share our videos. Bye for now.